Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is April 23rd, 2024. Hope you are having a good day. We want to start out by, we started the show yesterday about how demoralized I was with what's happening on these campuses. But more importantly, what's happening from the top. And what we said yesterday, and we'll do the introductions in a minute, we'll get into the market in a minute, we do have a lot to go over. There's no doubt in our mind what you're seeing on these campuses are organized, 100%. The tents are from the same place for the most part. And as we say to you, the words tic-tac-toe, and those words come from why even debate, why even play the game? You can't win when you're dealing. If somebody says, we're happy with what Hamas did to the Israelis, what are you going to do? Debate that person? You really can't. But when I use demoralized, it's coming from the top. It's coming from the faculty. It's coming from the teachers. It's coming. You saw a few months back when they had the heads of 3 Ivy League schools up on Capitol Hill, and they couldn't answer the simplest of questions. And when they try to answer with zero passion whatsoever, you can tell when somebody really cares about something. You can tell about somebody believes in something. It's not what they say, it's how they say it. And then there's the President of the United States, who can really affect things. As you know, we can't stand this guy. We can't stand the last guy. And we can't stand the fact we'll be voting on those two. But you have one person now as president in the White House. And all I remember is their reaction when it was deemed another group of people were attacked and how they felt. Do you remember that? Do you remember George Floyd? And how they were saying the blacks were being attacked and the cops and everything. Do you remember the passion that came out of the mouth of Obama and Biden? Do you remember that at that time? Passion like you wouldn't believe. And now, we get some statements. Of course we get some statements. But nah. And just so you know, Trump was the president, but they yapped, and they led, and they yelled and they screamed, and passionately. And the Charlottesville, passionately. When Joe Biden had a chance yesterday to answer the question, he said, yeah, we're against anti-Semitism, but also you got to think about So we're demoralized. If I ran this country, if I ran Columbia or these schools, we'd be cutting that off at the pass. Because we were told it's a hate crime for calling for the murder of people, of Jews or blacks or anybody else. We were told that. Yet you have these people calling for the murder of Jews directly. So just letting you know, what can I tell you? I got sent something And I already had this in my hands. I didn't know if I was going to read it. But in case you don't know, Israel's accused of apartheid and all kinds of weird stuff. In case you don't know, in Israel there's 7 million Jews and 2 million Arabs. Just letting you know. Apartheid, right? There are 49 Arab countries that have no Jews. Arabs in Israel make up 12% of the government. They are on the Supreme Court and also serve in their defense force. 150,000 Muslims pray during Ramadan in Israel. The gay population in the Muslim countries are often jailed or put to death. Have found Tel Aviv the only safe haven, and Israel the only safe haven in the Mideast. Black Jews have been rescued from Africa. Now over 200,000 of them have made Israel their home. Apartheid. Prior to October 7th, 200,000 Palestinians went to work in Israel each day. Apartheid. There was no occupation of Gaza since 2005. Apartheid and occupation. Meanwhile, Egypt does not allow Palestinians in its country. Egypt's at the south. And doesn't provide them with any rights whatsoever. And since October 7th, Egypt has increased the size of the border wall. We'll keep fighting the good fight. And again, we have to do this because, we're about the markets here and the economy. But if you don't think that if this spreads, this evil, vile hate spreads, who's next? Who's next? Who will they go after next? And as we've said to you, here's the good news. They're in the minority. These vile imbeciles are in the minority. The problem is they get a lot of play. I saw a video. Do you know who Alex, what's his name? Baldwin, Alec Baldwin? He, actor, and I guess, he's in the crosshairs of what happened. One of the women, a producer at one of the movies, was shot from a gun he was using. And I believe somebody went to jail for that. And these, been a little controversial and stuff. I never met the guy. He's in a coffee shop. And you just hear a girl with her phone in the background cursing him out. Cursing him out. Saying, say the words is what, you know what I'm talking, and it was a Palestinian thing about Israel and whatever, and he wouldn't take it. And he wouldn't take it. And then she starts F-bombing him and saying all kinds of crap and then calls him an effing murderer and this and that and whatever. And finally he took I guess at the end of the whatever, he just punched the phone. This is what people are dealing with right now. They're insane crackpots. The insanity of what we are seeing. And I'm afraid the faculty, was it Yale or Columbia, are pissed off that these students were arrested. Not that they were vilely calling for murder of Jews, but that they were arrested. And AOC comes out and says, we're so happy that these protests have been calm. She's a congresswoman. The protests are calm while there's videos of not calm. And of course, she hates the Jews and she hates Israel. She's an anti-Semite also, a racist anti-Semite with a few others out there. And I'm not worried for me. I'm worried for my kids that have many years left and their kids. And you should be too. Anyway, I'm a little less demoralized today because I got a lot of emails from all you, and we appreciate that. Now, as we do so well, we segue here. And as you know, we do the markets. And as you know, last week, the NASDAQ 100 dropped 966 points. In 2 days, the NASDAQ 100 has gotten back 434 points. And I know this is because I checked, because I got asked a few times today, Gary, was there any way to foresee this and what's going on? I'll have those answers up next on this, the one and only Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge
The last bastion of quality programming.
with Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
Okay. So, NASDAQ 100 down 966 points last week. A gargantuan drop. Up 434 points in 2 days. How does that happen? I'm getting questions. How does that happen? How is it possible that for a week they're just selling the living crap out of the market, and then in 2 days buying the living crap out of the market? What changed? Did anything change? Is there any way of knowing? These are the questions we get. And we give you big, flat, fat-out answers. We have no clue why it happens. All we knew is going into last week, we were worried. But that started before March 8th. Software, semis, leading to last week, NVIDIA dropped 84 points on Friday. Supermicro, that's SMCI, dropped, 218 points on Friday. Stunning stuff. And then we walk in and we get up and how does it happen? How did the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, which last week went from 47.45 to 42.88, a huge drop, right back up to 44.78, still down. How does that happen? Don't know. And we honestly tell you, we don't. We knew coming in, and we tell you, after big drops or big rallies, we're overbought, we're oversold, we're stretched and extended up, we're stretched and extended down. You can possibly bounce. But to get 434 NASDAQ 100 points, and by the way, that's only 2.5%. But these are big 2.5%, both up and down, of course. We really don't know. Our job is simple, though, to try to figure out what's going to come out of it. There's no way of the market finishing on the lows on Friday and you walk into a gap on Monday and another one today for whatever reasons. I can tell you that yields back down a little bit today. I can tell you that the dollar backed down today, and that's been a help to the market. And I can tell you the markets are oversold, but to be able to 434 points in 2 days? No, you can't predict that. But you just do your scans and see what you can come up with. And due to the fact I did my scans already, here is what I came up with. The positive side. Here's the positive side. Everything we do here is potentially. Potentially this. Potentially that. When we tell you, oh, potentially this can break out to the upside, the only reason we come at that word potentially is because it is set up to the breakout to the upside. When we say potentially break down to the downside, it's because it's set up to break down to the downside. It's pretty much simple as that. One of the groups we've been not bullish on has been software stocks. They started topping before March 8th. And what terminology have we used? One by one, little by little, stock by stock was breaking down. Simple as that. And I must tell you, yesterday, they bounced. We were not impressed. But they bounced. Today, they bounced pretty good. To the point where potentially they're putting in a low here. That means simple, what we saw, we think potentially yesterday's low is going to be the low, at least for now. And if that's the case, that's good news. And then we move over to the semiconductors, which were absolutely trash last week. I must tell you, I'm not so sure I can say that yet for the semiconductors. Because just remember, the software topped out weeks and weeks in advance and had more time to work their way through the downside. The semis, a little bit different. We'll see what comes of it. Just letting you know, you got some potential off of today, though that's the potentially positive side. Let me tell you the potentially negative side. We dropped 966 NASDAQ 100 points, and we've bounced 434. That's all that's happened, though that's a good bounce. On the other positive side, we told you money was flowing last week into the financials. Strong couple of days. Goldman Sachs, things like that. We'll see if they can keep that up. Why are they doing what they're doing? Beats the heck out of us. The utilities, they've been coming on. Lower rates. Other areas been coming on 2 days. Going back to the negatives, all the major indices at the close today. The NASDAQ 100, the S&P, and the Dow are still below the 50-day moving average, though getting back close to it. As long as they stay below, not good. Getting back above, potentially good. So a little bit of this and a little bit of that for you. New highs picked up a little bit today. Saw a few financials, a few oils, and the like. Let's see. I got Wells Fargo, GE, Schwab, Deutsche Bank, American Express, European banks are strong. I have no idea why, but they're strong. I think they're lowering rates again there. So better. But, again, going back to it's a strong bounce after a big drop. And now we're into the midst of earnings season. And everybody's negative on Tesla. Tesla reported earnings. They were crummy. They were lower than expected. They were less than expected, both on sales and earnings. Stock's up $9 in the aftermarket. Yeah, make that 8. Why would that be? That'll be up next on this, the one and only Investor's Edge.
Listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
Well, Tesla's numbers were crummy. And why is it up? Well, in the last week, it dropped from 170 down to 140. That's why it's up in the aftermarket. We'll see if it stays up. We have no idea. But that's a lesson for you. Decelerating earnings, decelerating sales, decelerating demand will always hit stocks, will always hurt stocks. That's what's simply going on there. I can't say it any better, any stronger. It's the electric vehicle business. Is a tough go. Tesla's announced robo-taxis or something like that. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. And I've been wrong before. When the iPod came out, I said it was a Walkman. Maybe I'm wrong. But I've been saying for 10 years now, all this talk about robo-cars and all this, that ain't never going to happen. Maybe in small doses, and I know they have the Waymos and stuff like that, a few of those around, but it's never going to proliferate. And we're not going to have freaking taxis in the air 300 feet above us. Are you kidding? They can't even fix traffic on the highways. I think that's a bunch of BS, but again, I've been wrong. So far on that part, I've been right. Hey, every now and then I'm right. Would I buy Tesla? I don't know. I don't think so. I like earnings and sales going north, not south. And I'm looking at what they said in the aftermarket. I'm not seeing much in the way of great. On the good front, Spotify was up 31 today. I think it was up 47 at one time, though. 180% earnings growth, 19% sales growth. Those are the type of, not saying we're buying Spotify. We're just saying that's the type of stuff we tend to look for. And as earnings come out, we will be on top of, and I mean there's a bazillion coming out. Good reaction today to Danaher. So some of the medical stocks are up strong today. Good reaction to SAP today on only 8% earnings growth. 8% revenue growth. Those numbers aren't very good. And they're a deceleration. But the stock was up 5.5%. We think that's what maybe got the software juices flowing. Just remember, strong stocks will beget strong stocks regardless of news sometimes. So we're thinking maybe that happened with SAP. Strong reaction with General Electric. This has been a strong stock all the way up, and they reported again. Sales growth up 11%. Which is pretty good for that size of company. And earnings growth was pretty much gangbusters. So whatever they're doing. Good action in Ryder. Now, again, we've done a few of these. Ryder's earnings the last 4 quarters, minus 19, minus 26. Is that a 26? That's a 20. Minus 24 and minus 24 again. They just reported earnings minus 24%. Stock was up 12%. Beats the hell out of me. Why? Pulte Homes reacted pretty decent to earnings and sales, which were down 10% on earnings and 15% on sales. What's going on here? Strong market day. Netflix, I had to bring that one up because Netflix gapped down big time on Friday and was down big again yesterday. On their earnings, Friday was up $22 today. What gives? And by the way, it's still way down from the gap. But how is this up $22 after it just gapped on worsening the market? Strong day for the market. And the growth names and that type of stuff. A complete about face from last week. That's the story. I wish I can explain it better. I stopped trying to explain the why something happens a long time ago. We know overall great earnings and revenue growth. Great earnings and revenue growth. But then we report to you companies with earnings down 50% and revenues down 50% and they're up big. Still, over the long term, great earnings and revenue growth. That does the trick. And that's what we constantly harp on. And that's why Tesla's been down big one way and why Nvidia's been up big the other way. Tesla decelerating earnings and sales, Nvidia accelerating. Of course, that didn't stop Nvidia from dropping $84 last Friday, which was amazing. By the way, Nvidia, seriously, down 84 on Friday, with it being up $5 in the aftermarket right now, is up. Not making this up. $68 in 2 days. Down 84 on Friday and up 68 in 2 days. How does that happen? Don't know. And by the way, they closed it right at the lows on Friday. Who the hell wants to buy that? But welcome to this market. And we've seen this a little bit before. We've seen it before. And the job. Now a couple of thousand earnings reports to come out. Now we got to deal with that crap. And just so you know, as we tell you, and we mean it, it ain't easy. You just got to stay on top of things. And stay on top of things. And stay on top of things. And when wrong, be wrong fast and be wrong small. And when right, try to let them run. And it ain't easy. I want to think about a couple of things. AMD. We sold it at 200 and something bucks on March 11th. It's 153. Great sell. Happy about it. You want me to tell you about the sells that we sold and they kept going higher? Oh, there's been a few. You just don't know. You just put your best foot forward. And I know what you hear, think long term. We tell you to think long term as long as you have what you have is working long term. We don't buy into their crap. Think long term. Do you know how many stocks I can mention to you that are down 75% from their highs of years ago? And not just fly-by-nights. Do you know 3M? 3M, right now, is trading where it was in 2013. No gains in 11 years. And is down 56% from 18. Think long-term? 3M. I mentioned Tesla to you. You do know Tesla is at 154 right now. You do know Tesla, the high in 2021 was 414. 60 some odd percent. Think long term. I can do others, but I won't. We'll leave it at that. Very good day. Good reaction to Tesla. I've yet to see some others. I'll do that in a little bit. And hopefully there's more. Let's see. Visa reported. I got Visa up $9 in the aftermarket. Yay. That's been weak. Tesla's up. Texas Instruments, aftermarket. I don't have that one yet. They reported. Let me see if that shows up. Texas Instruments is up $10 in the aftermarket. That's been weak. Seagate is another one. That's flat. So some good reactions in the aftermarket. Will not hurt the market as we go into tomorrow. And futures on the NASDAQ 100 are up. 0.25% in the aftermarket. We'll give it a party. But just good day. Good 2 days. After a harrowing 5 days. And when I mean harrowing, I mean harrowing. And every day here, if anything changes, we will let you know. What else do we got for you? I got a list. You ready? The annual interest on U.S. debt is literally moving in a straight line higher, now at $1.1 trillion. Have I thrilled you yet? Hasn't affected things yet. Up next, the rest of the list. This is the one only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
All right. Annual interest expense on U.S. debt, now $1.1 trillion. Less than 3 years ago, it was $450 billion. That's a 144% jump, as debt has surged $11 trillion since 2020. Have I thrilled you? Next, just a bunch of things. There's all this talk about, the rich don't pay their fair share. You know that one, right? You know what they're doing, right? The con game. Spend the hell out of us into debt. Unimaginable amounts of debt. Gargantuan amounts of debt. Spend more than you're taking in. Increase the size of government like there's no tomorrow. In case you don't know, the top 1% of income earners in America made 26% of the country's total income in 21, but paid that's the last year, 46% of total income taxes. The bottom 50% of earners made 10% of total income and paid only 2% of total income taxes. Fair share? Just remember, Marxists are bullcrap artists. Always watch your wallets when they talk. Joe Biden is one of the biggest Marxists we've ever had in history. I don't use that as a pejorative word. I know some people do. I mean it. A Marxist economically is what I call a control freak. They use rules, regulations, fees, fines, mandates, taxes, executive orders, forgiving student loans with other people's money to buy votes. You get the point. We told you so also. We're finding new mutual funds with AI tagged to it. Well, if the AI stocks keep getting crippled, they'll change the name again. Just remember, Wall Street is a marketing machine also. In 1999, they changed names of mutual funds from technology fund to internet fund until internet crashed, and then they changed them back to technology fund. Next. Yeah, I just got this one. Of the 300, by the way, we're all over the place here. Of the 331 missiles and drones launched by Iran and Israel, 185 of the 185 kamikaze drones were shot down. 103 out of the 110 ballistic missiles were shot down, and 36 out of the 36 cruise missiles were shot down. Just wanted to let you know. The U.S. Post Office, just letting you know, is now proposing raising the price of a first-class stamp from 68 to 73 cents. That's 3 months after January's increase from 66 to 68 cents. What's the moral of the story? Get forever stamps. They're going to keep going up. They're going to keep going up. And they're going to keep going up. U.S. government spending in the past 5 months, $2.7 trillion. 5 months, $2.7 trillion. Chip stocks this is a week old, are trading at their highest level since 2000 relative to the S&P 500. Relative to. Do you know what that means? The percentage of. Just letting you know. I got that. Microsoft and OpenAI are working on plans for a data center project that could cost as much as $100 billion. Just letting you know. This is reported by more than a few people, and if true, but I haven't seen it yet, they're saying U.S. debt is increasing $1 trillion every 100 days now. That would mean $3.5 trillion this year in debt. This S&P's PE ratio is moved up to 24.4, which is 32% above the median PE ratio since 1988 of 18.5. We're just reporting the news. We're not telling you anything. We're just reporting the news. Revenue generated each minute. Are you ready for this? Revenue generated each minute. Amazon, 1.3 million. Apple, 922,000. Alphabet, 665,000. Microsoft, 478,000. Amazon, 1.3 million per minute. And as I've said to you with this Amazon, they're the greatest. I mean, the price for just things are so much cheap, at least I have found on Amazon, and the delivery, to be able to order something at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday and get it at 7 a.m. on a Wednesday. In the news, just letting you know, Marko Kolanovic of J.P. Morgan has a 4,200 price target for the S&P 500. Says it's going to drop to 18% this year. We'll let the market decide. Right? More news. And again, we're mixing it up here. Governor Ron DeSantis signs legislation to increase penalties for retail theft and porch piracy. I wonder what's going to happen with retail theft and porch piracy here in Florida. Remember, criminals are wimps. Just letting you know. Debt to GDP ratios, Japan 255. But don't worry, their market is at all-time highs. It took 30 some odd years, maybe 40 years. Greece 168, Singapore 168, Italy 144, and believe it or not, the United States at number 5 at 123. It's sickening. By the way, brought to you by George Bush, Barack Obama, who took the championship belt from Bush, Donald Trump, who took the championship belt away from Barack Obama, and Joe Biden, who took the championship belt away from all of them. Joe Biden, the worst freaking president ever. Ever. By far. Even worse than the last three with our treasure. And the media says nothing. Auto insurance. Rates are up 22.2% year over year in quarter one of 2024, the highest year over year increase in nearly 50 years. Why is this happening? Many reasons, but some say parts and labor costs have gone up, longer repair, and more cars being totaled. And that's a bunch of our news today. I saw my auto insurance go up big too. Yay. but everything's okay. You all have a great evening. Drive carefully. The market had a good day and probably going to start off decently tomorrow. We thank you for joining. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. Serenity now. Hopefully things get better. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.